because of a fly, you're not sharing your mangoes with us.
The Kenya School of Monetary Studies, located in Nairobi, approximately 9 kilometers from the Central Business District, played host to the third conference and exhibition for fruits, vegetables and herbs that took place on the 25th to the 27th of September 2019.
HCD, they have been working on the KS 1758.
The guest speaker opened the conference by highlighting the performance of the horticultural sector in the recent years.
Horticulture sector is one of the leading foreign exchange earning and contributes approximately 1.8% to the national gross domestic product as of 2018. Horticulture accounted for 25% of the total exports in 2018, which represents about 5.6% growth compared to the growth of last year, according to the Economic Survey of 2019. The government has really committed to focusing on this sector, especially during this time when we are implementing the Big Four agenda, focusing on food security and also focusing on enhancing, market access through, opening of markets, and also about the AGOA strategy, which has a target for the country in terms of execution, and therefore, country is committed towards ensuring product diversification, market diversification, and also ensure value addition.
The three-day conference, whose theme was Enhancing Market Access through Aggregation, Food Safety and Compliance to Standards, brought together approximately 240 stakeholders from both the public and private sector to discuss the challenges and opportunities in the subsector, with greater emphasis on promoting competitiveness of Kenya's fresh fruits, vegetables and herbs.
Kenya is the #1 country of fresh and processed fruit and veg on the EU market, excluding bananas. But the volumes of fresh and processed fruit and veg to the EU haven't increased.
As a country, we are looking forward to enhancing our forex earnings through exports, and that is very key. So definitely the entire agenda as well is to promote exports to our traditional markets and also open marketing opportunities to other regions that we have not concentrated on. We still have the Middle East, the Scandinavian countries, other far-fetched countries, and a lot of work still has to be done, especially when it comes to issues of sanitary and phytosanitary issues.
Among the key challenges highlighted in the conference includes, but not limited to, poor food safety management systems, uncompetitive value chains, high cost of inputs and finance, over-reliance on chemicals for pest and disease control, unstructured engagement channels with counties and other stakeholders, and lack of sufficient capacities to meet codes of practice, among others.
There seems to be a problem on our end. One, that even if today we opened the markets completely, there will always be fluctuation in the volumes of products arriving in that market, always. A second big problem is that even if these products then arrive at the marketplace, whether it's at the domestic market or in the export market, they don't meet the quality standards. So the specifications in terms of length, color, shape, texture, all those things that have been set by those markets, we fail to meet them, and so quite often it's rejected, or a percentage of it is rejected. And the third one is the aspect of not being able to meet with the governmental regulations. And there are two types. One of them are the mandatory standards set by government for which you have to comply with. But secondly, there are what we call the SPS measures, which are reimbursed on exports.
Organized by the Fresh Produce Exporters Association of Kenya, FPIC, in partnership with the Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, various speakers reiterated the impact of food safety and compliance to standards with regards to market access, particularly on new products such as the mango value chain.
MRL issues are coming up, and the EU is saying, yes, we need to take care, because that is a challenge. A few other notifications that we have had. For the first time, we have had exceedance of carbofurans in mango. This is among the very first one that we have found. So this only sends a quick signal that we need to be careful, that our markets are looking out to see what are the things that we can get.
The industry is facing a lot of challenges. First of all, there are new requirements in both plant health and in food safety issues. For fruits, the ones that we were having a problem like mangoes because of the fruit fly and momodica, we did a self-ban. We were not banned by the EU. It is Kenya who did a self-ban so that they do not affect our other commodities.
This particular pest contributes 40 to 80% of fruit damage. Those farmers you see doing mangoes, 50% at flowering stage is destroyed by this particular insect. The 50% that remains goes to the fruiting stage, 40 to 80% is lost as a result of damage. And remember, this is a quarantine pest. If it is isolated in your consignment, then the whole thing is destroyed. You cannot be able to export. It's because of this we cannot be able to access export market.
Those interceptions, though they may come from an individual exporter, they are never referred to as an interception for that exporter. They actually are referred to as the Kenyan interception. And based on the number, then Kenya becomes on the list of controls, and that then works negatively, not only on the country, but also on the exporters.
With governance in Kenya having been devolved, county administrations have a role to play in promoting market access through aggregation, food safety, and compliance to standards. However, there are some challenges and opportunities too for this subsector at the county level.
One of the other things that I've really noted is a challenge with the farmer groups and the farmer cooperatives is governance issues. Leadership is a challenge, good governance is a challenge, and I think we also need to put our trust in this. Let us bring the farmers together, center them around a value chain, if it's peace, center them so that they can be able to produce critical volumes, but at the same time, train them on good leadership skills, governance issues, because that's a strong area of weakness.
Despite Kenya enjoying a big market share in the export market in Europe, Asia, Arab Emirates, and America, the country only exports 5% of its total horticultural production.
The agri-food sector in Kenya is transforming, and we have a growing middle class, which means that our domestic market are also becoming quite interesting. While everybody has been thinking about, I need to be a farmer, I need to be an exporter, I guess the future opportunities are not in export, but really in the domestic market. And therefore, as a transitioning economy, we have opportunities to invest in the domestic market and to streamline how our markets are functioning.
Outside the conference, there was also a marketplace for exhibitors to showcase their technological solutions, meet potential clients, and network with other industry players on matters food safety, compliance to standards, and market access.
We have learned so much on reducing the post-harvest losses. We've also learned about improving the quality of our product. It is important for our consumers to have something that is safe for their health.
With local standards such as the KS 1758, specifically Part 2, for fruits and vegetables, and the National Horticulture Traceability System, Kenya's fruits, vegetables and herbs subsector looks promising.
We want to regulate application of pesticides to plants so that pesticides are only applied on plants using teams that are technically qualified with the right equipment and they are supervised. That way we are going to reduce many of the problems in the MRLs and ensure that whatever you are eating is safe.
We should work with the necessary regulatory bodies, research institutions, the private sector, the government at national level and the county level, so that we can put in place what we call the pest-free areas and the low pest preference areas. And then in these particular zones, farmers can now be able to access export market.
We are developing a local gap program for Kenya. And what is going to happen is you're going to be able to access your fruits and vegetables in the supermarket shelves that are with a local gap number, which is called an LGN. When you key in the LGN into your mobile phone in the Global Gap database, you will be able to know where your fruit or your vegetable is sourced from. So this answers the question of some of the traceability issues that we are having, and you can imagine if you're eating something that you're able to know where it came from, and it is also telling you when was this particular person audited, did they pass the audit or did they fail the audit? This will actually begin to give you a feel of trust and confidence that you can always be able to source from that particular person because it is safe for your consumption.
Big thing I learned today is that majority of us farmers on the ground, because we don't meet those standards, are selling our crops in the local market way below the standards that the people are consuming. I heard about the pre-harvest spraying standards that they were telling us about. Many of us do not know about them. And so sometimes we spray products before and release those products into the market when they still have the residues. So I learned that today, and I'm hoping to meet and talk to some of those people who say they can help us as farmers meet those standards, train us, because that's what we would want, to be trained to know how we can use these pesticides, what are the ways we can grow our products more organically, maybe with less chemicals.
The conference ended with a summary of the proceedings, capturing the 8-point agreed action plan.
On capacity building, we have agreed that we are going to work together to train all the growers and traders within the sector. On market access, we have to do what we need to do to deal with this one insect that is giving us trouble in this country. We are bigger than an insect, and my colleague from UNIDO said that, to open markets for mangoes, for bananas, and for sweet potato and others. On compliance to standards, we have discussed, and we are going to do trainings and sensitization for CARE 1758, Global Gap, Local Gap, and any other standard needed. And on traceability, I can confirm to you that we will be rolling out the National Horticulture Traceability System once HCD is done redeveloping it. On consumer awareness, I wish to send all of you to be ambassadors to preach food safety, quality, and everything that will help us keep our food safe. And on devolution, which we have discussed this morning, we are going to work with the counties and all the stakeholders to build capacity of the growers, the aggregators, and everybody else within the counties. And on value addition and innovation, we are going to support these very interesting innovations that we have seen this week. And we would like all the farmers to get into their cooperatives and farmer groups and do aggregation and support the aggregation centers. And finally, on finance, we need money. We need money from banks, from microfinance institutions, from all these places. And let's work together to make this happen.